Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Now today is going to be another top 10 video and this is going to be 10 horror movies that I need to rewatch. Now this was a video inspired by my friend Sam over at the channel Sammy G's World of Cinema. I'll leave the link to his video down below, and with his blessing he said, of course, you go and make that video, my friend. Now I have done a companion piece to this video on my other channel, which is the channel Movie Worm, which is just 10 movies in general that I need to rewatch, but they don't include any horror films. So for this one, I'm just going to be doing 10 horror movies that I need to rewatch. There's a couple on here that I do like, but I want to rewatch, and there's many on here that I don't like, that I might feel like will do it for me on a rewatch because so many people like them films and stuff. So let's just get into it now with number 10. Number 10 is going to be Nosferatu. Now, there is a new Nosferatu coming out, directed by Robert Eggers, of course. And before that film comes out, I am going to give this one another revisit. So you can almost guarantee if there's one movie on this list that I'm going to revisit this year, it's going to be this one. I did like this film when I watched it, but I threw it on about 11 o'clock at night, and about halfway through the film, I started to begin to drift a little bit. And I can't really piece the movie all together all that much. And what I did see, I did like. I thought there were some great shots of Count Orlok, I believe it is, played by Max Schreck. When he's on screen, he's really creepy and stuff like that. I've seen a handful of silent films, and they really do work for me. I like the style. The Man Who Laughs is one that I would recommend to everybody. It's not a horror film, but I would recommend that to everybody. It's a fantastic movie. And I like the whole sort of olden style vibe that you get when people want to speak on screen and the words just come up on the screen. I think that's awesome. Cool little vintage style there. But this is the oldest horror movie I've ever seen. 1922, I believe. So, yeah, with me being tired and it being a little bit different to what I'm usually watching, even though I've seen a few silent movies, I definitely need to give this one a rewatch. And with it being one of the most important horror movies in the horror genre, of course, one of the very first horror movies we ever got, I owe it to this film to give it another go, especially with me running a horror channel and stuff. So in 10th place is Nosferatu. Coming in 9th place, we do have Jordan Peele's Nope. Now, I do really enjoy Get Out. I like Us even more. I know I'm kind of in the minority with that. So I was quite hyped to go and see him take on the sci-fi horror genre here with Nope. And from the trailers and stuff, I thought this looked excellent. And I will say it's a visually stunning movie. But man, I was just quite disappointed when I came out of it. I think it was my most disappointing movie of 2022. There were some things to like here and there. I did like Kiki Palmer, is her name? Who was a fun character in this movie. Daniel Kaluuya played a good role. It's not usually his more giddy role or anything, but he played a guy with the sadness behind his eyes and stuff very well, I thought. But I just didn't quite get what this movie was going for, and the whole ape part of the movie where them things kept cutting in were probably my favorite parts of the film, but I didn't quite get what that had to do with the movie. I know it's probably a metaphor and everything from Jordan Peele, but I just wasn't vibing with it whatsoever. So I know there might be people going, oh, you just didn't get it. Yeah, maybe I didn't, but maybe on rewatch I will. So in 9th place is Nope. Coming in 8th place is going to be George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Now, I absolutely love Dawn of the Dead. It's one of my favourite horror movies of all time. I've done my top 30 horror movies ever, and this was like 4th. I'll leave that video down below, guys, if you want to go and check it out. And I absolutely love Day of the Dead. What a fantastic movie that is. But Night of the Living Dead, I do like. I just don't think it's as good as the other two. But I haven't seen this movie in such a long time. I'm talking like 15 years or something there when I last watched this film. And one of the main reasons I want to rewatch it is nearly every horror movie I see where the characters are watching the horror movie on TV, Night of the Living Dead is on that TV, especially the cemetery scene with they're coming to get you, Barbara. I think I seen a stat the other day online that this is the horror movie that has appeared in most movies or most horror movies in history. So it's popped on the screen that many times in other horror movies. So yeah, I mean, every time I see that, it kind of makes me want to rewatch it as well. There, I watched All Hallows Eve the other day, and that was just like 4 days ago, and that's what they were watching in that film. So it just pops up all the time, and yeah, because it's such a classic and one of the most important movies in the horror genre, I just want to give it another go and have a refresh with it. So that is Night of the Living Dead. Next up is Audition, another movie like Night of the Living Dead that I really do like. But again, it's just been so long since I watched this film. I haven't watched it since the DVD days. I do own it up there on Blu-ray, by the way. But I just haven't got round to it since I bought it. I had every intention of giving this a rewatch, but I just haven't got round to it yet. And I want to watch it with my wife, who's never seen it. A little bit of a shock factor in this movie. It's all about a guy who is a rich guy, and he lets these women audition for them to be his wife. And he picks one, and it sort of goes down a sinister path. But I only really remember the last 30, 40 minutes of this film, with snippets in between where it was going back to this woman's past and stuff. But I just feel like I would appreciate this movie so much more through adult eyes that I just owe it to this film to give it another go. I do love a little bit of J-horror there, and this is one of the strongest ones that's ever been released. So yeah, just for refresh purposes, like Night of the Living Dead, Audition is next in this list. Next up, we have The Sixth Sense. Now, my big problem with this movie was that I just knew the twist by the end of it. I didn't watch this when it first came out. I caught up many years later. And whilst I thought it was a good movie, I kind of just knew what was coming. I was waiting for that climax just to see if it had much of an impact, even though I had it spoiled. But I've heard so many YouTubers in the past talk about this movie when it comes up on Shyamalan rankings and everything, saying it's not just for the ending. There's a lot of family grief and how families deal with loss and everything in there. And I kind of didn't really notice that the first time I watched it. Again, I was only like 15, 16 when I did watch it. So maybe I need to just, give this another go, and maybe I'll see it through the eyes of all them people see it. And I did think Haley Joel Osment and Bruce Willis put in great performances in this film, so that's enough to come back to it. Plus, I love Shyamalan. I'm not quite high on this movie as everyone else who is a Shyamalan fan, because I've only seen it the once. I much prefer most of his other movies like Signs and stuff. So yeah, that is The Sixth Sense. Next up, we have The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, I really did not like this film when I watched it. The first movie is my favourite horror film of all time. I absolutely love that movie. And this one was just going for a much more comedic aspect. I didn't like the mask design, the makeup design, or anything in this film. The first 10 minutes is unbearable, where that guy, I think he's cast as Gunnar Rick, is just screaming, going, woo! I done a top 10 worst horror characters ever video, which I'll leave down below as well, and he was in that top 10. I really am not looking forward to going back to this for the first 10 minutes because of him. But I've heard so many people say that this is like the best one after the first, and you just got to see it a different way and go into it expecting something different and just have a lot of fun with it if you can. So yeah, maybe I will. I find it very hard to detach it from the original. I just see it as a sequel, but I guess this is more of a reimagining maybe, because it is so different in tone and everything, and the characters look so weird. I just didn't quite get it. So yeah, maybe I need to give it another rewatch, and with I know what is coming, I might like it a little bit more there. But I've only seen it the once. So that is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Coming in fourth place, we do have Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now, I grew up watching the Halloween franchise. I've watched them all multiple times. But this one was one I've only seen once. I just never went to this one. It was one of the very few I didn't own on DVD or anything. And I had this Radio Times book years ago where it gave ratings to all movies, and this one was like the lowest rated in that Radio Times book. Yes, it was like this thick. It was before the days of the internet, and that always kind of just put me off. As a kid, you listen to reviewers, don't you? But today, I fully suggest that you make your own mind up when it comes to films. I mean, everyone's just hated on Joker too, but I really liked it. So, yeah, definitely make your own mind up, guys. But when I finally got to this, I didn't see what the fuss was about. Like, a lot of people have been saying, oh, look, this has grown over the years over on everyone. Everyone loves this movie now. It's got a cult following. And I watched it about 3 years ago for the first time. And I just like, what is everyone going on about here? I did not like the main character, played by Tom Atkins. I thought he was a little sleazeball who cheats on his wife throughout the movie, and he's flirting with people at work and stuff. And I'm just like, how am I meant to get behind this guy, really? I didn't think the story was all that great. The sinister toy factory and stuff. Nice surprise to see Daniel O'Reilly in there. O'Reilly? Fucking butchering that name there, guys. As a huge RoboCop fan, it was nice to see him in there, and he is a good villain. And I do like it when they turn up to the town and it's all quiet and silent and there's something quite wrong. But there wasn't many redeeming factors in this film, guys, that were really doing it for me. I do like the awesome mask design as well. I thought that was great. The mask design here looks awesome. But again, so many people say I need to give this another go, so maybe I will. It's got nothing to do with the fact that Michael Myers isn't in this film, apart from that little advert on the TV. I knew that going in. But I just didn't quite get it. I mean, I just think this is a very average horror movie. So yeah, maybe I need to give it another go. The score is fantastic though, I will give it that. Coming in third place is Suspiria. I was so hyped going into this movie. I heard so many people say it's one of the greatest horror movies of all time. And it is always appearing on top 10 horror movie lists and stuff. Now, I watched this like 8 years ago or something like that. I mean, it's been a while since I've watched it. But I just thought the score was so overplayed in this movie. I thought the story was bang average. And there's a scene later on where someone is trying to knock down a door, and it must be the longest knocking down of a door scene I have ever seen in a movie. It goes on for like 5 minutes. It's pathetic the way it's filmed, or I remember it being like that. And I just thought, man, this is really terrible filmmaking. And that is an absolute travesty to say about one of the greatest horror movie directors of all time. And I will live to regret saying that. I know I will when I rewatch this film, because I do feel like in any movie in this list, this is the one I'm going to like the most. Because I have gone and watched many Dario Argento, well, not many Dario Argento films. I've seen about 5 more after this, I think, and I've enjoyed them all of them. So maybe I just wasn't ready for that whole Giallo thing right there. Really enjoyed Beard with the Crystal Plumage. Tenebrae might be my favourite by him. I even liked his latest one, Dark Glasses. So, yeah, I owe it to my horror fan self to give this another go. I thought it was okay. I just didn't love it. I thought it was like a 6 out of 10 movie, put it that way. I love the use of the colour red though. There's this review on Letterboxd saying the colour red didn't exist until Dario Argento made Suspiria. Love that review. One of my favourite reviews on Letterboxd. So yeah, Suspiria is one I need to definitely give another go, I feel. Next up, we do have It from 2017. Now, I had never been so hyped for a movie since The Dark Knight, I don't think, going into this one. It, the 1990 miniseries, is one of my favourite films, even though it's a miniseries, whatever you want to call it, of all time. It's one of the most important horror movies for me. I love Pennywise in that, played by Tim Curry. I just used to rewatch that movie constantly. Even though it was 3 hours long, I watched that movie so many times on VHS, DVD and Blu-ray. And going into this one, I was like, okay, they're finally going to give this a revamp. You know, there is some dated things in that mini-series. Let's see what they can do. The trailers hyped me up so much. They hardly showed any of Pennywise or anything like that. I was like, okay, I need this. I knew it was going to be set in the 80s going into it. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. They're moving the generation a little bit there, the decades. And whilst I like this film, the CGI, man, I hated Andy Muschietti's use of CGI in this movie. It pulled me out the film so much. I am not a fan of CGI in horror ever. Okay, maybe if it looks great, I can sort of let it go a little bit, and if it's only in one or two scenes, but Pennywise going, the mouth opening at the start where Georgie's running down the street trying to get his boat and this big mouth comes out, I was like, when that happened, I was instantly like, oh, did I hype myself up too much here? Now, I like the way it takes a lot of things from the book. Best novel I've ever read in my life, by the way. And the kid actors in this are fantastic. Love the whole look of the movie. They really captured that Derry, Maine, small town feel. You know, visually stunning film. And Bill Skarsgård does a good job. He's not as good as Bill Curry. Keep saying Bill Curry. Tim Curry for me. I mean, I don't even think he's a patch on him. But the whole visual look of him and the makeup design is great, and the voice he does, yeah, it's fine. But I just didn't feel it. I just wasn't feeling it. I came out of the movie quite disappointed. I said to my sister, look, that was okay, wasn't it? But it's not as good as the 1990 miniseries. She quite didn't like it at all, really. She's like me. She used to watch the miniseries all the time. We had very similar feelings on this. So, yeah, probably need to give it another go now. Now I know how it plays out, and just try and ignore the CGI if I can, although that's probably impossible. But yeah, I just wish the whole CGI thing, that was the thing that really took me out of it. But so many people say they prefer this one. So yeah, I'll give it another go. That is it. Number one though, guys, is going to be a film that I've seen more than once. I've seen this like 5 times now. And whilst I think it's a good 8 out of 10 horror movie, yes, I do like this film. I just don't think it's one of the greatest horror movies ever made, like some people have it at number 1. And that is John Carpenter's The Thing. There's so many things to like with this movie, guys. There is whole isolation in Antarctica, the fact that John Carpenter done a great remake of the original Thing from Another World. This is how you do a remake. He took that and totally twisted it and added so many different things to it. Instead of just finding a monster, they've got this monster that's kind of trying to get inside them and impersonate them and stuff. Fantastic. Love the way he remade that movie. Right? That's how a remake should be done. Great characters in the film. Practical effects off the scale. But I don't know. I just think it's a good movie. Nothing more. I don't see the whole one of the best horror movies ever made or anything. And so many people tell me I'm wrong on that. Now, it is all opinions, of course. But I haven't watched this movie for about 5 years now. And this is the one that I do want to rewatch the most. I think Suspiria might be the one to tear me the most. But this is the one that I want to be so wrong about and watch it again and say, oh yes, all you people were right. Now, I admit, guys, I am not the biggest John Carpenter fan in the world. I like a lot of his movies, but apart from really Halloween and Christine, I just think all his movies range from above average to good. I know a lot of people might unsubscribe now or turn the video off here, but They Live, The Fog, this, I just think they're good movies and nothing more. And so many people put them in their list as the greatest movies of all time. So yeah, The Thing is number 1. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this top 10 video. What do you think of my thoughts on these movies? What ones do you think I need to rewatch the most? Leave your movies down below that didn't quite vibe with you at the time, but you want to rewatch and give another go. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. It would really help me out. If you want more top 10 videos, I'll leave them in the link down below as well, along with my top 30 horror movies and the other one I said. Sorry, really forgot what that was there. Thanks so much, guys. You take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.